Good morning, my friends. It's your old pal PeaceLoveMusic with another edition of the Let's Go Morning Show, where we cover developing news in the stacks and broader Bitcoin ecosystem, brought to you live with DeOrganized Media in partnership with Bitcoin Live Decentralized Broadcasting. It is Friday, the 8th of November. What an awesome week for crypto, for Bitcoin, and for humanity, dare I say it. We're doing well. We're doing great. Friendly reminder, this is not financial advice. We are a news show providing you information and educational opportunities only. Always do your own research and never invest money you cannot afford to lose, and do not base your investment decisions on my opinion about anything. I am not qualified. Bitcoin's looking very strong, holding on to the 76,000 range. I believe it tapped 77,000 at late yesterday, holding on to 76,064 a few minutes before broadcast. Stacks dipped a little bit, $1.66, dropping to the number 36 space by market cap on CoinMarketCap. Fear and Greed Index ticked up to 72, still healthy. And the top three gainers on CoinMarketCap over the past 24 hours are Kronos, that's the Crypto.com token, ADA, Cardano, and Nero are the top three gainers over the last 24 hours. We have the Stacks calendar for the day. Staking Summit going on today. You can go to stakingrewards.com and check that out. It's running today and tomorrow. We have at 11 a.m. the weekly SIP call, Stacks Improvement Proposal, and also a Community Innovation Call. We'll be talking a little bit more about SIP 29, proposed SIP 29 on that one. Good for Bitcoin Trust Machines show at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. At 3 p.m. we have Stacks Africa Friday. Updates and chill session with Freddie and the crew. At 4 p.m. we have the Stacks Nigeria Pushing the Narrative show. And at 5 p.m. we have Dan and Brad with the Purple Pill Friday show. It's a weekly community hangout. Great vibe on all of these shows. If you're around, check them all out. Drop in, say hi, and support our community. And we also have Miss Gecko's calendar for the hip younger crowd. We have Memes on Stacks at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with O'Milly Tees. The bus stop is at 3 p.m. Eastern with Jay East, Mains, and Miss Gecko. Building the Future at 4 p.m. Eastern Time with Creative Owls and Tang Poco. Get to the Comics at 4 p.m. with Osman Collects. Artfully Fed, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Chanel, Cali Speedway, and Sapphire. Bar Pushes Radio at 9 p.m. Eastern with Dr. Strange and Omi Wanda Homie. And Aloha Friday, the Real Uncommon True podcast with D and Hanano at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And that one is actually on YouTube and X. Also, Osman Collect is on YouTube. All the others are on X Spaces. And we have a very, very busy time in our community these days. A lot's going on. If you guys didn't hear, this is really cool. Detroit, Michigan has become the largest U.S. city to accept Bitcoin and crypto for taxes. That's great. It's great for the local community there. I'm super psyched for them. I can't wait till it comes to my neck of the woods. That's a tremendous development. You're going to start seeing a lot more of that going on in the space coming soon. BlackRock, again, after they recorded a $1.1 billion in inflows to their spot Bitcoin ETF on Thursday. That's yesterday, on the heels of a record $4.1 billion in inflows on Wednesday. My goodness, that's a lot. That's a lot of money flowing into to Bitcoin just in the BlackRock ETF in 2 days, over $5 billion. Russian president says Vladimir Putin says Russia is not abandoning the U.S. dollar. I wonder what made him change his mind. Maybe things aren't working out at BRICS or something else happened. Federal Reserve Chair and Moist Maxi, Jerome Powell, says he would not resign if President-elect Trump asked him to. And my understanding is that he doesn't have to, actually. Federal Reserve probably is a little more powerful than y'all realize, and maybe you wouldn't like it if you really understood how things work down there. SIP 28 signer criteria vote is live. The vote runs through Monday, and I want to make sure you go to stx.eco to vote. It's very easy. You go, the QR code's right here, right there, right there. You scan that QR code, it'll take you to stx.eco. Connect your wallet, or you don't even have to. You can just copy the address, send this transaction, a very, very small transaction amount over there, and get your vote recorded. It's very important that we get as many people to vote as possible. It's very important that we pass this vote. Go vote yes on SIP 28. If you want to have fast Bitcoin on Stacks deployable into the Stacks DeFi ecosystem, we need to pass SIP 28. SIP 29, we mentioned during the calendar event, and we will be discussing this again at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on the SIP call with Hero Gamer and the Stacks Foundation. We need more community feedback on this. The goal for the SIP, the proposal, is that to align the Stacks reward halving cycle with the Bitcoin halving cycle. This misaligned over time, was originally aligned, to my understanding, and it misaligned because early Stacks didn't have blocks for every Bitcoin block. So they varied out of alignment over due to that. And then obviously with the Nakamoto upgrade, things changing with the blocks and everything, they need to realign it. Also, it's suggested that it would be maybe not good for the ecosystem to have the halving that's due to come this December in just a few weeks happening at the same time as the rollout for Nakamoto and SBTC, which is due to come out late December, assuming we do get the SIP vote passed, which it looks like we will, but we need everyone to participate to make sure we get it through. But we are looking at an adjustment to the distribution or the emission schedule for block rewards or miner rewards, signer rewards on Stacks. So we do need to talk about this and make sure that we have as much community engagement, and if it does go through, that the community supports it. So come in if you're available today. Come check out come into the SIP call at 11 a.m. Eastern Time so we can talk more about SIP 29. Shout out to Skullcoin. Their free-to-play story mode has launched. The competitive mode will be launching soon, but you can join now, get acclimated to the online game. The on-chain game is live on Stacks mainnet. You go to skullco.in. That's Skullcoin with a dot between the O and the I. And you mint your NFTs. They give you the clues. It's a really fun experience. And if you have questions about it, you can always DM me or Zenitron. Staxy's working on it. She's very acquainted with it as well. Let us know. We're here to help. Runes Mint. It's actually not live. It is over, and you missed it. Maybe you can get some on secondary. I don't know, but not financial advice, but if you didn't mint runes, you probably made a mistake if you knew about them and chose not to. Silly people. Boom, ghostly transactions, a regular NFT, or perhaps an opportunity for future benefits on Boom Wallet, minting now on gamma.io. Oh man, I don't know if you guys saw if you've been following the Trump NFTs, but the one of ones are so awesome. The Homer Simpson one that somebody pulled yesterday was amazing. These are minting on Gamma right now. Go over to gamma.io. I think it's 5 stacks, and you might pull a very rare and awesome one of one mint. Zero Authority bounties are now open. There are, I think, 5, might even be 6 or 7 now. I didn't recount this morning. I know there's one going on for SIP 28. So go check that out. You can win some stacks and a one of one Mojo NFT, which are super rare and wicked cool because they're made after people in the space. I'm not sure which one is available, but they're all awesome. And it's just go read the bounty. It's XY0. I'm sorry, zeroauthority.xyz. You can go click on bounties, and you can read all about the bounties on there. And it is official. We are going to Easy A Apps Building on Bitcoin event at Harvard tomorrow. I will be up there walking around talking to all the big brain students out there building projects that are going to be really cool in our ecosystem, and talking to anyone that wants to talk to us and go on live. I think we'll get Phil and Dom on a chat, and some of the other people that are coming from the Stacks community that'll be up there. Hopefully we can get a lot of conversations going, and also line up some of the future, some of our future builders down the line when they have projects that they need to support. They'll know that they can come to DeOrganized, and we'll gladly show you all what they're building. And without further ado, and I'm sure we have a few people saying hi. Well, good morning, GPSC. Good morning, Haddy. Happy Friday, boys. There's a SIP competition for one of one Mojo on Zero Authority. Get on there. And good morning, my friend Jackbinswitch.
How's it going? It's been one hell of a week, man.
Oh man, I'm feeling so good right now. I really am. I love what's going on in this. I haven't felt this good about where we are as a country, as a the human race. I'm I'm much more optimistic now than I was a week ago, which I was still pretty optimistic a week ago, but I feel like things are. I didn't think the election was going to go our way. I thought that it was going to go. I felt that there was a good chance that it wouldn't be on the up and up, and I think it was just too much of a landslide to fix. They couldn't do it.
That's what we needed to happen, and I was with you. I was worried that there was going to be some shenanigans, but it was just too big. But even now, like in Arizona, they're like flipping seats. They're doing the same thing that they did with the presidential election, except in smaller races in Arizona. So they're still playing the game. So I hope that people go to prison for what's been done to this country. But it's like people are starting to wake up to reality, which is nice. It's, you can see shit coming if you're a certain kind of person and you pay attention. And I'm really thankful that because of Bitcoin, I've been able to see shit coming and like be able to finally capitalize on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know something is directionally right, you're going in the right way, how do you take full advantage of it? Well, the Bitcoin signal has been loud and clear and just ready for anyone to pick up on it who took the time to look into it. This is what crypto is all about. Like you were talking about the runes meant earlier. All of the information was right there the whole time. You have your chance. It's like that. It's still with Bitcoin. And so like to see, people now realizing, oh man, like, wait, the guy in charge of the Federal Reserve just told the president he basically can't fire him or whatever. So now people are thinking, what's this Federal Reserve thing? And they're thinking, where'd the 20 million Joe Biden votes go? You're seeing all of these things like really just add up, and it's beautiful. And I think that I'm with you. I've been optimistic because I knew at least in the material side of things, we had Bitcoin that could right a lot of wrongs, and we've been through fighting all these years, and we're going to win anyway. But now it's just almost euphoric. It's almost a form of euphoria to see where we're at and now where we have the potential to go. It's a beautiful thing.
The markets don't lie. The markets don't lie. And, I do think that we still have a lot of work to do to get crypto, Bitcoin, stacks to where it can be. I mean, we're still very early in this process, but now we have a reasonable expectation that the government is not going to be actively working against us.
Right.
And actually might do things to help support what we're doing, like help us.
That's like difference. So there's a few things to be bullish on there. For one is, if any of you newer people, if you don't follow Kobe on X, do so. Kobe's kind of like a Jedi master when it comes to crypto. He's like our Obi-Wan Kenobi or something along those lines. There's a fitting role there. But for one, he flipped his PFP to the one that he flips to when you're super bullish about the market. This guy don't miss. But two, like a couple of years ago, he basically said in a tweet, it might have been 3 years ago, like, we have the money now, meaning crypto participants, we have money now, right? That's what it takes to affect change. Like, everything, all of the good news we just talked about wouldn't have been possible had Elon Musk not had $44 billion to buy Twitter and turn it into X, right? Where we're at now is the byproduct of actually having a free speech platform. So it's in that spirit. Now, this is obviously before Twitter was purchased or anything. When Kobe said, we have money now. We just saw that now with crypto activism in the U.S. in the political system. I think it was something like $130 million went to support pro-crypto candidates. And I believe we picked up like 98% of the people that were supported, as if like traditional politics even and traditional lobbying groups and all these people can mess with crypto degens. Like, we've been ahead of the curve for years now. And we just demonstrated why it's good to probably pay attention to what we're trying to do, because again, we're getting back to the old, horse and buggy analysis, right? We're not worried about trying to make better horseshoes. We're worried about trying to build roads and vehicles and bridges to the future. And so I think this was massive for us. It was a massive demonstration of not only how well we've done with an industry that's been hamstrung by politicians and the Federal Reserve Bank and all of the cronies, all caught up into this bullshit monetary system we have in the first place. And now we have a chance to like expand as an industry, and I couldn't be more bullish on it. Again, I tell people all the time, you don't learn this stuff in the classroom. You learn this stuff being and participating and being in the trenches and learning about it. Just the job opportunities that are going to come around for degens who like want to be involved and didn't know how to be involved, which if you're in this long enough, I believe everyone comes to that cross in the road. And you're going to have much more opportunities to do that now, right? And through like the organized media, through things like Zero Authority DAO, you're already seeing what that can start to look like. And I think you're going to see that get turbocharged. So what's not to love, man? We're here. It's almost like it's kind of like almost like I'm in a little bit of a shock. Like I'm not even really ready to get, like I'm trying to don't get too excited. We still have a lot of work to do. There's still a lot but the work, I'm more confident that the work is actually going to be fruitful today than I was a week ago, which I'm not talking about the work DeOrganized. I'm talking about the work to push stacks and Bitcoin and the crypto, the decentralized ethos of Bitcoin forward, and what that means for humanity, where people will be able to self-custody their assets to retain the value they create more
more appropriately, more fairly and honestly and equitably in the fact that it's fair. They're getting out what they're putting in.
Right.
And I'm super excited because the alternative is fascism. It's ironic. It's very ironic that they're like, this is a fascist, that he's literal Hitler and all that stuff. And there's a lot of people, the anti-Trump supporters, I guess is really what they are. They support anti-Trump. They weren't really supporting Joe Biden. They were never supporting Kamala Harris. They were supporting opposing Trump.
Yeah.
Those people, I feel actually very badly for a lot of them. For instance, there's a guy on my real estate team who's a teacher during the day. He has a middle school class. He said on Wednesday, the kid in a more urban area, and the kids in the area were panicking, were scared, they were wild because, we're not going to have our food stamps and we're not going to have our housing vouchers and my uncle's going to get deported. Like they're really scared about all sorts of stuff that's not actually going to happen. Like it's
the same thing with COVID, man. You control people by fear. It's one of the best ways to control people. Dude, during COVID, I was still a nurse. My wife's a nurse. And because we were working in hospitals and so forth it was just me at the beginning of the pandemic because we didn't know what COVID was really going to be. We were watching the same fear porn as everyone else. So I'm before I go to the hospital, I make sure my wife knows exactly what to do if I catch this stuff, at what point I want to pull this, that, and the other. We're taking this very seriously.
Right.
But you get this inside look. Like the first year of COVID, it was flu. That's the reason why everyone's like, COVID's the flu. No, they weren't counting flu cases. If you go to an ER with a runny nose during flu season, my entire career, you get tested for flu automatically, right? You go in for a headache, flu test. During that first year of COVID, they stopped running flu tests and they were only running COVID tests, and everyone was popping with COVID when they really just had the flu. So based on education and experience, I could see that right up front. Based on education and experience, I knew getting the shot was a bad idea because normally for a drug to go out to market, you've got to have a decade of clinical research on it, these kind of things.
Right. Well, and they're not actually vaccines.
Right.
They're
exactly.
not actually vaccines. They're an experimental.
They changed the actual definition of the word vaccine.
Right.
So I'm looking at all this, but yet the way I support my family is in healthcare. And what was the first thing that these scumbags in this Biden administration did when they took office? They start trying to mandate this shit. So they put the fear.
Plus, here's what really tipped it off to me that something was not on the up and up. Not just the vaccine rollout and how that was odd, but there was no campaign telling people to wash their fucking hands.
No, dude. The whole thing was messed up, but they used fear. So I'm sitting here, I'm not a super educated guy, I work in a relatively technical field in the highest capacity I could without getting more licenses. And I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. This is obviously bullshit. I'm seeing side effects from drugs they are approving for treatment for COVID, wreck people's kidneys and stuff. I'm like, this is real bad. But I ain't taking this vaccine. My kids ain't taking this vaccine. My wife. So you have this fear. And so you had people just like me who wouldn't have taken it because they were scared to lose their livelihood. Right. And, so I filed.
My oldest daughter is a chemical engineer. She has a degree in chemical engineering. She works for a large drug manufacturer. Biopharmaceutical company. She makes really great money, and she did not want to take the vaccine. She did not want to get it because she has a chemical engineering background and knows that it is of dubious safety based on what they were saying, and a healthy distrust of the establishment. She ended up taking it though, because it was just it was put in the measures put in place to avoid taking it were too much to deal with. And she was
Indeed.
young, she was still relatively new at the place. She didn't want to, and I don't know what the long-term effect. I'm panicked.
There's so many people that did it for that reason alone. And now people are going to learn that all happened so that people, doctors were getting money for pushing it. Hospitals were getting money for diagnosing people with COVID. You had, pharmaceutical companies, politicians, bureaucrats.
I heard something the other day, and I don't even remember the source. I saw it in a video somewhere. I don't even remember what medium I was on because I don't have time to do anything anymore. So I wasn't able to really belabor into it, but it was saying that the vaccine wasn't actually put out by Pfizer or Moderna, that their vaccines were all actually produced by the U.S. military out of the Wuhan lab, and that they were basically just allowed to put a label on it.
So now here's what you got. You've got obvious proof of that fear works very, very well to control people's behavior.
It sure does.
And the COVID example was a perfect example. 9/11, Patriot Act, great example. But now you have people like your teacher friend who now they have to learn this lesson, that fear is being used to subject you to someone else's will. Doing anything by motivation of fear is not it's not natural. It's not the way you're supposed to do it. It's not healthy. It's not positive at all. As a human, we have instincts, even though we don't have to use them too much. But if I go in my backyard today and there's a fucking lion out there, I am going to fearfully act in one way, shape, or form.
Right.
But to abuse that, the way that people have been abused via the mainstream media and social media, that is a high degree of manipulation. So when I'm on my TL ranting about something, calling people brainwashed, that's essentially what I'm getting at. Like there's been a form of fear-based programming that has been unleashed on the general public.
They've been working on it for decades upon decades in an organized
fashion. Open now. It can all go. People can open their eyes to it, see it for what it is, and grow. Because, just like me, back with 9/11, when those Twin Towers came down, I was on the wrong side of history. I'm like, man, go bomb Afghanistan. These people, this, that, and the other. And it wasn't until a few years during that process was like, wait, something don't make sense. So it's a lot of things don't make sense. And then that was my transition into the Federal Reserve and all this, and it kind of shaped my worldview going forward. We're at that stage right now in mass. And so it's really cool to see that happen.
It was starting to happen. We talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago, where we talked about the Occupy Wall Street movement and the Tea Party movement that came out of when people realized that 9/11 wasn't what was sold to us. And there was this massive ongoing effort through the whole time to discredit anyone that questioned what the official story was. The 9/11 Commission, which is obvious bullshit if you look through it. It couldn't have happened. It's the people will wake up, but there is also what happened to the Occupy movement and the Tea Party movement. They were polarized. They were starting to actually come together. I saw what appeared to me to be agent provocateurs on both sides that
100%.
infiltrated, co-opted the movements, focused them on fighting each other, and then we got Obama, and then we got Trump, but there was already this hate mentality of each other,
right?
That they were able to just use. Hate is fear. Hate is actually a fear emotion.
Right.
That's you have love and you have fear.
And so when you take when you take all of those things into consideration and you look at, wow, so Trump just won, like, not just electoral votes but the popular vote. Like, he's got a mandate. People can finally kind of unite now. They would find that common ground again, which was so important. Which now I'm glad that Trump had the election stolen from him in 2020, because this is going to be a better administration that's going to be, a lot more effective. We were going to get a lot more of the same we had before, but now that stranglehold's kind of broken.
Well, they also learned the game plan of the reaction to what happened between 2016 and 2020. So we know. So it's obvious how the establishment's going to react to these things. So now you have you had all this time to really more carefully plan out the next steps. And I'm super. Part of what's encouraging me on this is Bobby Kennedy's involved, Elon Musk is involved, Tulsi Gabbard's involved, Tom Massey's getting named to something. There's a bunch of good people that are not party flunkies in any way on either side.
Right.
That are now in control of the government. They're not the party. Party establishments on both sides have been kicked out.
And we can completely rechange what government has become into a form that's more true to what it should be. And I think that's what you could be most bullish of all on, because we really were in a bad spot. Some people call it neo-communism, and I think that's an appropriate term for what was actually being implemented in this country. And now people don't realize it as much, except now, like in Europe, you have a lot of problems going on, like the German government's dissolving. Like, the people their eyes are open for the first time. And like, we were, when the Bolsheviks took over Russia and started the communist revolution, we're talking about like the late 1800s. And the Berlin Wall fell down when I was a child, like, what was it, 86, 89, something like that?
Yeah, somewhere in there. I'm not sure exactly when. Somewhere, I think it was like 87 or 88, actually.
When you take and look at that and see, man, it took that long to get people from under communist rule. Like, when that shit sinks in, it's hard to get rid of. And it was getting its talons in us really, really in a big way. And I think that this last election, would have marked the end of, democracy and the idea of a Republican America, because you had a system supporting a candidate who never even secured one vote, period. And thank God it looks like Kamala's campaign was just kind of like a big grifting movement to steal a bunch of money. They raised over $1 billion. They can't account for 20 million of it. Like, it's great. Like, whatever's going to happen, let all that stuff happen. I'm just really glad that we got from under what was coming.
I'm not saying I don't want to see justice served, because I do, but I'm less concerned about the bad actors being punished than I am moving forward in a positive direction. I think that's where it is. I'm happy. I don't care if nobody gets locked up, as long as they're not allowed to, act like they have been anymore. As long as that's prevented, I'm cool.
I think it's good to not have to be put in a position of judgment over other people whenever possible. Because I believe that we're all flawed, and there's only one righteous judge. But I try not to put myself in that position. But for the people who are tasked with any judgment, to hold people accountable for what was going on, God bless them. More power to them. We have to avoid finding ourselves in this kind of situation again, because anytime you do anything, people learn. And so now you have a chance for people to change tactics and try a different lane of attack. It's just a matter of just salting the earth with this stuff. But I'm glad I don't have to have any judgment, because I know my judgment's not just. I know as a human how I feel about things, and I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
Yeah, I would not want to be in that position of having to execute justice. It is because I want to give everyone another chance every time. Really, I believe that everyone is redeemable. And but I understand that there's some really bad stuff that's been going on, and really horrible things, and really bad behavior. I want to transcend that. I want to get past all of that. So it's a challenging thing, though. I mean, because you do want to. We have this. We want to see. We want to see the karma happen. We want to observe it. It makes us feel better that that justice was served. That we see that things did go the way they should. But if we pass these punishments out, and that's the focus, we're not moving forward. We're wasting time, in my opinion, on stuff that is like I don't want to even pay attention to that. I want to build more stuff. I want to move forward and I want to see our integrated society integrated with Bitcoin and crypto. I want to see a decentralized I want to see a government efficiency. I still own no Doge, but I want the Department of Government Efficiency to happen. I want to see that. I want them to cut waste and innovate so that the spending that they are doing is actually a legitimate economic force multiplier, not extractive in sheep's clothing, because that's what we have now. So that's what I want to see. I want to, like, the right people are in there. And I want them to do what they can do to make things better. I don't want them to spend it all focused on staying there.
Right. No, I think we're going to see that. I do. I'm very hopeful, because now we're to the point where everyone knows, okay, the way we're taxed, the way the money works, it doesn't really work. We've gone out as far with it as you can. There's got to be.
It works for some people.
It works for the wrong people. That's right. It doesn't work for most of us. It's been very advantageous to some folks. And like, again, during the whole run up to the election, when everyone's doing their campaigning, and you see pundits and these mainstream media outlets talking about, why are people complaining? Inflation's not bad. And it's like, okay, you're either just so insulated from this that because you don't have to like go buy your own groceries, you might not have filled up a car tank of gas in 15 years. You're insulated this in some way. You've got so much wealth already where you don't notice it. Like, but guess what? The vast majority of people in this country, they don't live that way. Or you're just being a paid shill just to say what the regime needs you to say. But neither one of those things are good.
Well, and that's actually part of the establishment of a fear mentality is the insecurity of prices, the insecurity of income, the insecurity of your capacity to just exist, to earn enough income to make ends meet, to just get by, to have a place to live and food on the table.
Right.
We're at such a vast technological point in human history, in humanity, where there's no reason why anybody has to actually live that way. No. And we can build it out in a way that's still consensually based, or even more consensually based than what we have now, and also productive to the point where it raises the minimum standard of living for everyone on a global scale. We can do this. We can absolutely do this. We just have to.
As opposed to a system where in the United States, which is the wealthiest country, you're supposed to be the wealthiest country, where you then had the middle class just evaporating in real time, getting to that point where you have people working as hard as they do, hard as they've ever worked, to just be able to keep a roof over their head and food on the table, and having to use credit in some cases to even do that. Like that was criminal, you know. And then like all of these people who have shit talked Bitcoin for all these years to try to keep people from learning about it, you know, screw those people. Because I can say emphatically, I'm not a rich man at all. Someone ever wants to rob me, they're basically practicing, right? It's dangerous practice, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's someone that did not do their homework.
they can try, but you know, it's like I'm not rich at all, but because I've been involved in crypto, like during this whole downturn and everything, we've been able to survive just because of having exposure to these assets. Imagine how much of a better time people would have had, and how much better position they'd be able to be in going forward had, you know, these same people who were responsible for this reduced quality of life for everybody wouldn't have put so much effort into not educating people about Bitcoin and talking bad about Bitcoin. People are going to be hot, you know, and then, but it is what it is. You know, now's the time. If today's the best time to get your entry on Bitcoin. You're getting into a part of the market cycle where you're going to want pullbacks, and they're not, because you're going to want an entry, and you're not going to get that entry you want. You just have to like,
no, not now. Not now. If you've been waiting, the time to wait is gone. It's gone. Yeah. I mean, I could see potentially testing back into the high 60s, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to. I really think I mean, who knows what's going to happen, right? But it doesn't seem like I'm way more optimistic about the outcome of the global economy now. Putin's talking about we're not going to abandon the dollar. We're going to see the Ukraine war is going to dry up. The wars are going to end. You know, we're going to see things are going to be going very well for humanity, despite the efforts of the establishment that just got turned over. They got turned over. It's all the tools at their disposal. What a bunch of bozos.
You can only hide the truth for so long. You know, that's the thing. Like, you can be in a completely dark cave, and all you need is a match, just one little humble match, and now you can see so much you didn't see before. That's just a reality of the universe we live in, and that's what the truth is. And just that little bit of truth gets you just enough illumination to where you can be like, wait, something ain't right. And we just collectively are going through that right now, and it's a beautiful thing.
It really is. I'm so, like I said, man, I feel so good this morning. I'm a little tired. It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
And, you know, the time change, I think I'm finally getting used to it. I slept a little bit later this morning than I have been. So that was welcome. And I got this thing on tomorrow at Harvard that's on my mind because it's new and I don't know how it's going to go. So that's like also, a little bit of a weight on me. Not that I think it's going to be a great time. I'm super excited about it, but it's a new thing. And so I got to figure something else out, which I love to do. People that have been hanging out with me, I love when someone's like, hey, here's some new stuff. What do you think about it? And I can be like, oh, we can do this and we can do that. I love that stuff, but it's still kind of a little bit of anxiety, not being sure what I'm doing. I'm going to do something. I don't know what I'm doing.
But that's growth. You know, that's all that is. That's just growth.
It is. We're finally doing it on location. You know, this is going to get us ready for your plans for Vegas when we're,
I'm so bullish on DeOrganized media for a variety of reasons. The least of which is that it's very necessary. If it's timely, if you look at how people are going to be viewing media in general, you're going to see a lot more people going straight to X for it. I mean, that was proven on the election night, where more people tuned into X to get their election results than they did to your traditional media.
Any other media.
Right. So now in terms of crypto media, most crypto media has been absolute horseshit. So this is much better form of it. And it's got a very talented group of people working on it to make it happen, to get it to where it needs to be. And it's just going to be a lot of growth. And it's important because people need to learn. Okay, now we're at the point, as people who have been in this ecosystem for a while, we have several responsibilities. A chief among them is getting everyone caught up to speed. Like just hardcore. This is what crypto is. This is what it means. This is what Bitcoin is. This is what it means. This is what smart contracts do. This is what it means. There's so much we've got to, we've got to get people on board. And it's, you have so much more knowledge than you realize you have relative to other people who are just getting started. So even people who have been in the space for just a short amount of time, a couple of years, few years, they have things to offer to help facilitate this, and then you need avenues like the organized media and so forth that make it more easily to get good information out to people, where it's not just a show where you're like talking about the thing that should have been talked about a year ago, but now it's time for people to buy it. So now we're just going to talk about this thing. No, screw all that. Like that's not the way it needs to go. We need to have good quality entertainment and content for people. And that's why I'm so bullish on DeOrganized, because this is a multifaceted industry. And it's going to grow deep and wide at the same time, and to be able to just cover that, and it's huge, man. It's absolutely huge. So yeah,
I'm excited about it too, man. And honestly, thank you. You've been a tremendous assist on all of this. You've been right there pulling the weight with us all the whole time. You've been super charitable with your limited time, even just coming on here on Friday mornings. I know you got a lot going on with all that you're killing it with the Rue community and all the other stuff you're involved in with stacks and ordinals and stuff. I know you got a lot going on your plate, and you've been really just instrumental in helping us put this together too. Jack, everyone needs to know Jack is an instrumental piece of the DeOrganized media family as well. And we have a lot of talent here, Haddy and LMNO, and then we're getting shows with, I'm if I start rattling names off, and I miss your name, don't take it personally, because we have a lot of people, GPSCs coming on, Staxies coming on the show and doing stuff with us, and now we got a show with Blockface and obviously Haddy and LMNO and all the guys. 300's come on, and he's got a show that we're going to start next week, and Landy's going to start doing a show. Good Kitty's show is going to start coming on our brand now, starting soon, I believe. And then just more and more stuff all the time. We've only been doing this for 3 months, maybe. July, August, September. We started in the middle of July. So it's been 4 months. Okay, we've been 4 months. And
the growth is just it's off the charts. It's parabolic growth.
It's because part of it's because we're so there's a number of factors here, right? Self-analyzing. The biggest one is that we're authentic. The information, I don't put out anything that I don't believe. I'm not saying something I don't believe. I'm not shilling anything. I talk about these projects that I'm interested in. And then part of it's because, I'm interested in it because I'm reporting on the space, and it's a project building in the space. Some are going to be winners. Some are going to be losers. I'm not endorsing them as an investment. I'm just really interested in what's going on. I think what you've done with Rue is super cool and interesting. It's different. It's innovative. And just I think what Xenotron's doing with Skullcoin is really cool and interesting and innovative. And I think what Zero Authority DAO is doing is really cool and interesting and innovative and useful and building out the rails to ensure that what we just got rid of doesn't come back. That's actually really the move, is to build forward. You know, we don't need to send them to jail. We just need to transcend past their capacity to influence us.
Right.
And we're building that out. But that's people, my authenticity, and it's something I've used for a long time. I've always been good at sales, but I'm not a salesy salesman. I take a customer service approach to sales often. Like if I'm actually have a customer in front of me that wants what I'm working on delivering, I'm asking them questions to find out what it is that we offer that fits what they need. I'm not trying to sell them everything we have, which, you know, the cable company I was working for didn't love it that way until I produced the most telephone sales for them year after year out of everyone in the system, because I was doing it the right way, and my retention rate was huge. And it's the same thing. Same thing as in real estate. I'm not selling a house. I'm brokering a deal. And that's another skill I have that a lot of people don't. I've been in on a lot of negotiations where I had to learn to never have emotion to the outcome of it. If this one doesn't work, the next one will. Or if we have to change terms, we'll figure it out. Like there's always a way to make the deal happen if both parties want it to happen.
Right.
That's a skill. And so that's also part of what we're doing with DeOrganized. It's like, oh, do you want to be on the show? Oh, you're not comfortable with doing a live video? Okay, well, we'll come on a space. We can do that. We can talk there. Or, oh, you can't do 1:30 in the middle of the day Eastern time on a Thursday. All right, we'll make a special time for you on Friday morning. We're flexible, and we figure it out. And that's part of it. Another part of it is, you hit the nail on the head too. There's a demand for this, and nobody else was doing it. I didn't come into it for that reason. I came into it because I was just trying to learn to spotlight the D grants awardees, and even just the applicants that maybe didn't even get an award, just to give them an opportunity it was really just an opportunity for them to actually think about how they wanted to project their project publicly, which a lot of times they're not thinking about that when they're just building and applying for funding. And that's actually something that projects need to grow.
What the organized media needs? The organized media needs a magazine. Like, it can be a web mag with like some physical copies, maybe, quarterly or whatever. But it needs to be a multimedia web magazine addition to it, where we can go more in depth with interviews, where you can go, and I don't know, there's something there. Like, there's something really cool there. And
there's a couple of different things we're talking about doing. One being like gated access, exclusive content, and stuff like
you have to talk to Leo from Siegel. Okay, like you're gonna have to get in his DMs. He is Leo Pradell. He's the mastermind behind Siegel. They have an infrastructure that is open source that has barely been used except by them. That is, I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. If I didn't have the Rue project and Rue community, that's where my energy would be focused on. It would be full DeOrganized media and figuring out ways to grow it. Because again, here's the reality. Not only is the demand high, but the demand for good quality entertainment, news, what have you, is sky high anyway. So when's the last time that you read a good magazine? Like, I used to read magazines all the time. I haven't read magazines in probably 20 years.
So many years ago, in my early 20s, when I only had 2 kids, and then our third was born while I was doing this, I merchandised magazines the airport, the Providence Airport, which is actually in Warwick. I had, so this is pre 9/11. I actually was out. I had, like, because I merchandised the magazines and the books in the airport, I would drive in. Me and the lady I worked with, we would drive into the security area and be able to load in and out in the back, and we'd have to go through the security checkpoint where we just like wave at them and they'd open the gate. And I had fashioned out of one of the boxes, I cut eyes out just to fuck with the lady that I worked with. I would drive up with a box over my head, and the eyes cut out, and wave at the guys, and they'd let us in because 9/11. And I had box cutters in my pockets, and I was allowed to go in and out through security without getting scanned and everything. I had access to one of the airlines guys, like cargo guys, like the luggage guys, gave me the pass key so I could actually get through the gated security door and go out to the runway, like to go around. And when it was like Christmas time and there was too many people in the airport to get around with our stuff, it was insane. But yes, magazines were the first internet. That before there was an internet, there was magazines. I haven't read a magazine. When my phone's dying and I'm at a doctor's appointment or something, I might pick up a magazine and thumb through it.
And there's just not much there, but like we're in a new era, and I always kind of looked at it like crypto culture is the counterculture. And, you know, like what was the great countercultural symbol in the 1960s? It was Rolling Stones magazine. And like, you know, we need that in this day and age. That's always been like
so Rolling Stone magazine was actually still pretty good until, well, maybe a couple decades ago now, maybe 20 years ago. But they had an article. So one thing that really put together for me how the system works is the work by a man named Anthony, Antony, Anthony C. Sutton. C is middle initial, Sutton, Sutton. He was a fellowship scholar at, I think, the Hoover Institute, economics. And sometime in like the 70s, his first book was something to do with, it was like really more of a academic type of thing, but he did a ton of research into how the U.S. through trade agreements and agreements between industry and the Soviet Union financed the Viet Cong so the United States establishment financed both. Obviously we financed the U.S. side of that war. We also financed the Viet Cong. And that was exposed by Anthony Sutton in the 70s. And then he went on to write a series of books, Wall Street and the Bolshevik Revolution, Wall Street and the Rise of Hitler. There was one, Wall Street and FDR. He's made a bunch of other books, and really the our establishment, ruling class, since we were talking about the Federal Reserve, that was 1913. That's since way before that even, they've been planning this usurpation of our democracy, of our republic, for a very long time. And effectively, these are the men that World War II was orchestrated, and I'm not saying it was orchestrated as if it didn't actually happen. I'm saying it was orchestrated as in it was set up to happen. It was designed to happen, and the world is just a chessboard. And I found out about, to come full circle on the story, I actually found out about the first book that I read by Anthony Sutton was about the Skull and Bones Society. Yeah. And all the people that have been in positions of power that were part of that very exclusive society at Yale. And that was exposed. I was exposed to that in one of the articles in the back of Rolling Stone magazine. They wrote a huge long article about Anthony Sutton and all of this stuff.
Hunter S. Thompson, like they had Matt Taibbi. You know, people only know who Matt Taibbi is now because he's the guy who like wrote up the big articles about the Twitter files after Elon Musk bought Twitter.
Right.
You know, everyone thinks, oh, that's some partisan guy. No, man, I was reading Rolling Stone, reading Matt Taibbi going off about George W. Bush.
He was he was liberal. He's
right.
Still liberal to
right. Like
yeah, Matt Taibbi's. I don't know him personally, but he's from a town not like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from me. He's from
so Miami. Like we need like to grow DeOrganized. We need journalists. We need independent journalists. We need people like with camera equipment, things like that. Like there's so many different ways to expand here to make this what it can be and what it should be. It's super exciting.
Yeah, you know? The sky's the limit. We can do whatever we can imagine and put our minds to. You know, and it's work. We have to be willing to work. But I mean, honestly, it's not just me doing this. And I'm putting a lot of work in. I'm not trying to undercut that because I am. I'm putting a lot of work in. I'm not trying to sell my credit out of it. But a lot of other people are putting work into. And that and just supporting, you know, Hero Gamers always coming in and chatting and making and reposting our stuff and giving us, you know, our props and our flowers and you know, Good Kitties shouting us out and Reese is shouting us out and you know everyone's participating and then just watching, you know, just tuning in and sharing it out and you know, now we got Michael coming on and doing an AI show. And we got, you know, it's all, we can do whatever we want. It's just a matter of time.
It's like how it is at Rue right now. Like, you know, Rue's a decentralized community. But like on the community side, there's more things that need to be done that I need help with. So it's just a matter of like, just continuing to grow and just add things as you can.
What do you need? This is an hold on, everyone. This is an opportunity for people listening right now. What do you need help with, Jack? What do you need help with the Rue community?
Well, you know, because we've got so much going on. Like we just finished the Runes Mint. We're going to be trading runes here shortly on the stack side. We've got an Ordinals collection coming out. We've got Joey. We've got all of these things lined up here, and that's just on that end. So in the community, you know, you have collabs, you have things that you'd like to do with other teams. Like one of the lessons I learned is, you know, because people are gonna be sad that they missed the Rue Mint, but they won't be sad for a lack of trying. Like I got to realize just how hard it is to whitelist communities, like if you're trying to like network for collabs and stuff. And then I'm so busy with the Runes launch, I missed the Pizza Pets, you know, opportunity for the community, and I feel bad about that. So like having people from then that's kind of like why we're very excited about the badge system.
So you need a community collab manager
for sure, you know. And the thing is, like, and this might just be me, and this might be something I have to overcome, but for me, for any project to succeed, you have to have people that have vested interest in the project engaged with the project. And there's various levels of community participation, and some people get to that next level because they care about it, they're wrapped up in it. Look, I mean, I'm not gonna like beat around the bush. I fully intend on Rue being a mechanism to make people a whole shitload of money. when we say we made the community VCs, it's because typically what you see in crypto is you see the team making a shitload of money, right? And then the community's like, okay, I got the participation trophy. We took a different approach. We wanted to make the community a shitload of money and level up the community members. And we're doing that. But like this Runes airdrop, the rough math on it right now is going to be worth about $170,000 cumulatively to the community. Now,
in value.
When you take like Rue's market cap, we're under 2 million right now. You know, I'm not looking at market cap on Stacks Invaders, which is the only NFT collection that's probably come out within the last year that has printed multiples for people, right? Well, how'd that happen? Well, for one, we started the mint at 1 SPX. Here, you're the VC. Run with this. Oh, and by the way, you're going to get some runes later too. And then, you know, so you're trying to like line people up to win. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm very excited about that because I think that the way that we're going as we enter the mainstream, there's going to be so much opportunity. But my thing is like the people that I want to work with Rue are people who understand Rue. I have people contact me all the time about, hey, you know, I can do this, I can do that. But maybe that's like a blind spot for me. Maybe it's like that's a pie in the sky thing where you just want your people who've grown with the community, who understand what it's about, who've experienced what it's like to be a Rue Brew firsthand, for those guys to be the ones who, you know, can help grow these other things we need to do. But maybe it is just about finding the right person. I don't know yet. Like I said, that might be like an idealist. We don't always see our own blind spots, you know, but that's
right.
That's
well, and it's, you know, it's, I understand because you don't know how it'll go until you have someone in that spot doing stuff. And then what is it that you want them to do versus what they understand you want them to do? It gets
right. And then your collab manager especially has to be very savvy because that's like an entry point for scams, right? When you're talking to other people who are sending you links, who are doing that. So you've got to have that part of it too, where you have people who are savvy enough to operate without getting burned. You know, I still think to this day you have people with Bored Apes getting their wallets drained pretty regularly. You know, like you have to find the right people.
I'm not sure if I had ever bought a Bored Ape, I'd probably have sold it by now. I can't imagine I wouldn't have taken that win.
But anyway, yeah, but it is we are growing and we're in a period where we need to grow. DeOrganized is in a period where it's growing and it's going to need to grow. And we're all going to have to be able to do that, especially when we're coming from the community, because you know, I think VCs are learning some lessons about how you have to treat the community, and that's good. That was one of the main points of Rue in general, is to give people an option to not have to do the same old bullshit and have the same outcomes. But I think you're going to see a lot more investment in this space, and you are going to see a lot of professionalism and a lot of deep pockets. But I still don't think that like anything short of from the community, I don't think you'll be fully actualized on your Maslow's, you know, crypto scale of actualization, right? Like I think from the community is still like the very best gold standard for any crypto endeavor. And
without the community, there's nothing there.
Right.
Without the community, it's all just an illusion and hype and anxiety, actually, because you're trying to get something out of nothing. When you are building for the community, it makes the whole thing a lot easier to be a part of, because you're building value. That's really the key, is that you're providing something of value and then exchanging that value for value back. And that is a healthy transactional cycle.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just what people need to stop looking at number go up, which of course we want the number to go up, but the number needs to go up because of the value add, not because of the FOMO and the hype.
Right. Well, the number too frequently goes up because of you know, exploitative tokenomics, and it's exploitative because people don't understand what it actually means. You know, like that's why, like with the runes, we've got this big burn and all of these different things, because we want the tokenomics to be good, right? We want the distribution to be good. We want these things to try to make healthy, because from where I'm sitting, Rue is a top meme coin on Stacks because of the distribution and tokenomics and ethos. We want to do the same thing with runes, because with runes, that's a whole different thing. You have the fly by night, you have the FOMO, you have the ball games. We kept the mint open for 7 days. Like, anybody had a shot.
Everyone had a shot. And
so,
you
like,
all know about it way ahead of time. And there's going to be people crying, I didn't know. Please, can I have some?
Right. When you get into those crowded trades where someone is doing a rune or a token or something, and sentiment is, not like super bull run sentiment. If you're in a crowded trade at the outset, you might be in the wrong trade. That's usually when it's going to go up real fast, and you got to get out before everyone else does, because then it's going to fall and it's not going to recover. And that's what you see in crypto right now. That's what you see in runes. That's what you see in meme coins. But having tokens on the market that are not like that are true community tokens, that sets you apart immediately. But it's all about people just learning and people, and that gets back to the education piece. And that's why, we're focused on the community and focused on growing other endeavors within the community. That's why when, if Skullcoin needs something from Rue, they got it. That's why if DeOrganized needs something from Rue, they got it. That's why Zero Authority, I love using Zero Authority to put bounties out there and do things, because it's perfect. That's how we got our logo for runes. Like,
the platform's awesome, and also the people behind it are awesome. That's part of it. The same thing goes back at you too. I mean, DeOrganized Media, anything Rue needs, we're gonna do. We are Rue Brews over here for sure. And
so that's what we want. We want to see the community continue to grow and continue to thrive. I think a lot of people got an education this week when they did the call with Munib and Rubes. The community, and I don't think people understand just how decentralized Stacks really is. If you've been in Stacks for a long enough time and you did anything like Stacks advocates and everything, you already kind of have a sense of it. But it's truly decentralized, and that's what people were thinking is it's just a lack of communication. Well, no, because there's just not one central entity at Stacks that's hey, this is exactly what this means at any given time. It's a lot of people doing different things, and so it's good that people got to see that. But
are you familiar with the SIP29 proposal?
It's the SBTC one.
No, there's a newer proposal. It's something they've been talking about for about a year, from what I understand. But the proposal was just made recently. It's to align the Stacks reward halving, which is due to come this December, with the Bitcoin halving. So basically, delay the current halving until the next Bitcoin cycle. And it's so I guess the general consensus is it's not a big deal to do, except it might be setting the wrong precedent. And is it really necessary? Do we need to do it? Partly because it is changing the emissions schedule. In the short term, it'll actually be slightly inflationary, but in the long term, looking at the 2050 circulating supply, which the target is 1.8 million and under, it'll actually be slightly under the target versus if we don't make this change. It's alleged that it's not a good idea to half the rewards in the middle of Nakamoto being launched and SBTC being launched, right, which sounds reasonable to me. Good morning, Ace. Yeah. That does it sounds reasonable to me, but the concern is this going to set a precedent where anytime they feel like it would be beneficial to avoid the halving, come up with a good idea as to why it's necessary, and so we don't want to set a precedence that this is something we're going to do on a regular basis.
Right. And that's what makes, again, getting back to decentralized media, that's what makes what's going on here so important, because people need to know that Stacks isn't a software company, it's a decentralized blockchain, and like, you have a voice and you get to exercise it just like you can in civic life. And it is important, because we're going to see more SIPs. We're going to, if anyone's learned any lessons, it's that, you have to be involved with decision making, or other people are going to make decisions for you. Right.
Yes.
So
he that does not rule himself is destined to be ruled by others.
Right. So like, that's one of the reasons why it's so important. And in terms of like precedent, you worry less about precedent if, in the meantime, you have a community that's fully educated and fully engaged, and you have people who are talking about these things before they happen and say, well, they want to do this now. And like, well, hold on, is this the right move at this particular point? Because it might not be the right move right now, because you're right. You've got all of these things happening, all of these things changing place. This is a lot of change in a little bit of time. And do we need to add that on right now? Probably not. But I could see the other side of the argument as well. But the bottom line is, people need to be educated. They need to know, and they need to exercise their voice. And part of that comes from being invested in the community. And again, that gets back to Rue, and like why it's so important to like build a community organically, and like put people in a position to where they feel like they have something in there, because they do. Their bags are worth more. They have more options. They have, a place where they can learn all of these things. You have a more invested community. You have a stronger token, and you take that forward. Well, it's no different with Stacks. And, again, these are all the same dynamics, just at different scales. People who are here, who really care about Stacks, really see the potential, who are invested in it, need to be as invested in every aspect as possible, so that they can help guide this in the right direction over time. And part of that investment's the time investment in getting educated, knowing what's going on. And
exactly right.
We've got that to a big degree. So we just have to continue building on that.
Right. That's part of, SIP call at 11 a.m. on Fridays is now not just the Stacks improvement proposal, but also the community innovation piece, where we want, this isn't just for the devs to come talk about the SIPs. This is for the community to come and ask questions about the SIPs, and also just give feedback to the foundation as to what they would like to see developed. What do they want to be able to do on Stacks that they can't do now? What do they want their applications to be able to do? And what don't they want them to, what don't they want? So we can make sure that we have the applications that the community wants. And this is a time in history where more people are able to have a say. More people are able to give feedback as to what they want. We don't have to sit back and just wait for things to develop and see what they give us. We can shape how the world is being built, how the products are being built. We just have to engage. We need people to come in and participate in the conversation. And that's, again, part of what we're trying to facilitate here on this end too, is get that message out to as many people as possible. Sitting on the sidelines, the time for that's over. You can participate right now in the new economy. Just get involved.
No, and that's it, because crypto is just going to become a bigger part of mainstream life. Like that part's completely unavoidable. Now the question is, to what degree does crypto shape mainstream culture? And I think the degree is going to be profound. Actually, I think it's going to be a profound shift. But our countercultural movement will will become the predominant culture. Like I wrote an article about that a couple of years ago when I could kind of see how things were shaping up, and it's we really do have the superior culture relative to the mainstream culture, and now we're going to get to see what that actually looks like as they combine. And so you want to be involved with that, whether that's through deorganized media, whether that's through individual crypto communities, whether that is through whatever means possible. You want
jump
to be
into the Root console and start hanging out with those guys.
Right, because what I'm anxious to see is I'm anxious to explore as we start to get some regulatory clarity. I'm anxious to explore what a crypto community can accomplish in the real world through in various channels, right? And I believe that we're going to see these channels open up, because now, especially if you've got a community that is flush with resources, and now if there's real world advantages to be had, you take them and you push this, and you make even more ways for that community to win, because someone, I don't know who, is the Disney of crypto right now. They just don't know it yet, but they're building that Disney type legacy that's going into the future, right? Somebody is the CNN of crypto. They just don't know it yet. Somebody is the General Motors of crypto. They just don't know it yet. And it's a matter of building strong communities, smart communities, communities with resources that can allow these things to transpire. And because, again, the mainstream adoption is a foregone conclusion at this point. Yeah, I've got two cats that when I'm doing this, they know I'm a captive audience.
It's like, I'm just whacking with my tail a couple times. It'll give me some treats to go away. You're absolutely right, though. We are. We have an exciting. This is like almost like getting to be on the cutting edge of the development of the internet when it was first coming out.
100%.
Or the westward expansion in the US when that opportunity was there and you could go claim land. They would just go claim your land.
So if you're a mainstream operation of any sort, and you've got a limited budget to go into crypto, think about how more advantaged like the Rue community will be when the Rue is collectively worth $100 million or whatever it is, right? Like think about the opportunities to then push this even further. And so it's
what the community can do when there's that kind of
right,
there's that actual kind of value in the network.
100%. Like, what kind of advantages now do you bring your community? What kind of opportunities do you bring your community? And also, like, now we're at the intersection where the mainstream meets. So, like, does Rue finance, feature-length films 5-10 years from now? Who knows? Do we finance, large-scale video game endeavors like, that you would play on a console? I don't know. Do we like sponsor NASCARs? I don't know. Like, but there's just so many different.
Right. We just have to wait and see.
Right.
But there is it's same thing as we can kind of do whatever we want right now.
Yeah.
It's permissionless, and that leads to a tremendous amount of innovative capacity because we're not limited to. We don't have a board. We're not answering to anybody. We're not beholden to, we don't even have any sponsors right now. We have to, eventually we will have some marketing partners here so we can, level up and start paying some of the people that have been doing work. That's the goal. And it's not probably happening in the near term. It's going to be over time. We got to build these opportunities out, but it's all permissionless. We can do whatever we can imagine We can attempt whatever we can imagine. And then we also have a tremendous amount of talent with us that makes it a realistic possibility that we can achieve some really, really interesting things that we haven't even thought of yet.
100%. And that's how I look at it from the token angle. That's how I look at it from the runes angle. That's how I look at it from NFTs. I think all of these different things can work together to you just have to be ready for the opportunities, and you have to apply a little bit of foresight. But I think that we're on the verge of some really, really cool stuff. And people don't wrap their minds around how big crypto is about to get. Like, you can look at lines on a chart all day, but until you stop and realize that, in our lifetimes, more than likely, you're going to see the vast majority, if not all, of the world's real estate is going to be priced in Bitcoin, right? You're going to have all of these different changes happening. Crypto's just going to be massive, and the ways that decentralized finance will work in this new world aren't fully understood yet. So yeah, like let's figure it out and be ready for whatever we're gonna do. That's why for DeOrganized Media, you put yourself in a position where, okay, if you want to tokenize ownership of the media, you can. But you're also opening yourself to the possibility that, man, you might have like some big investment groups come dump a whole lot of money into this to try to, capitalize on it, right?
There's branding opportunities available right now.
Right.
If people want them, we just haven't been actively soliciting them because we're still working on a lineup. We're still working on how we're distributing all the information and how we're going to get out there with it all. And so we just don't have the time to build that part up yet. But, in order for this to actually be an ongoing, consistent thing, yeah, it does have to turn some money in, because I can't expect the people that have been helping me I can't keep putting in the amount of hours I'm doing with this, because while I do have some business and people don't know, I am a realtor full-time, as well, on top of doing this. And I do okay. I bring in enough money usually to make my ends meet, so I can designate the time to building this out. But it does have to monetize somehow, or it's not actually functional long term. So that is part of the goal. And it's not, selling a branding opportunity doesn't mean that we are being told what to do, what we can and can't do, or anything like that. Our marketing partners will be projects that we actually believe in, and projects that actually believe in us and what we're doing now, and not someone that we expect will dictate to us we have to do things beyond what we're willing to do, which is part of why we're so cool, right? We're not for sale. Our soul is not for sale.
And if you look at it from that point of view, where if you've got someone who likes to hustle and is passionate about what they do, and they want to work for someone, ideally they want to work for equity. So like that's the whole point behind a token. That's the whole point behind a protocol. And there's no reason that can't work here, because you're right. Like, man, we need to be on TikTok. We need to have shorts ready there. There's ways you can branch out through other social media. I think Twitter is going to be the biggest one, obviously.
Twitter's going to be the biggest one, but it's not. Like, you're absolutely right. We have to be on TikTok. We're not on TikTok right now because I haven't had a chance to look into that social media. And so I personally have avoided TikTok because I see what the reels are on Facebook, which is also the same thing on Instagram. And I see that as being actually bad for the kids, bad for the it's mostly the kids that are on there. But if we're not on there, our competition is going to be on there anyway. We don't have direct competition right now, but that's how it goes. You know, you don't live in a vacuum forever. And if you're a company, you have to be aware of the pain points and the option, the productive opportunities. And yeah, TikTok is definitely somewhere where media needs to be, you know, and short form content, which we're starting to produce more of. And that's another thing is we do have a little bit of a bandwidth issue. Like I have some great people helping us out, but I do also have more tasks than I have time for right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so that's all part of just building it out and seeing where it's going. But I mean, there's going to be people, you know, there's going to be people who need cameras, who can do reporting, who can do articles, who can do all these different things. And it's just a matter of like making it possible. And that's the part that is about to become a lot easier to figure out, because now, you know, we've been operating in a low liquidity environment for a long time. We've been playing a lot of PvP with our crypto monies. That's all about to change, and that's going to change for, you know, I'd say at least a year, possibly more. I think that this bull run is not going to look like anything that we've ever seen in crypto before. I think it's going to look a lot different. I think it's going to be massive. I think it's going to be mostly centered around Bitcoin. That's why Stacks has been like a big focus of mine for so long. But I think that, you know, the opportunities to scale are going to come quick, and it's just going to be a matter of like doing it the right way. But yeah, once that happens, dude, the sky's the limit. It truly is. There's just a lot more opportunity here than we're really ready for. Not just when you're talking about tokens or applications, but you know, when you're talking about this show and this endeavor,
content. There's so much content opportunity here.
Yeah.
And not even just on these live podcasts, but you know, like I was saying, gated opportunities on the website where, you know, we could do live music, like gated, like what Trip and Gary, they're both building similar kind of stuff. They should actually get together and work together on it. But gated and the all access stuff, the events gating, and Gary's all access with the When Walls Break album that Katie put out, and some of this cool stuff is, you know, we could do a live feed that we're only broadcasting to an embed on a web page on our website that is gated to an NFT. So you have to own a Stacks Invader to get into our you know, you want to do a Rue Alpha event where only holders of Stacks Invaders can come in and get the alpha on what you guys are doing with runes before the Stacks Defenders mint goes live. We can do that, you know, and it's a live broadcast through Restream, but instead of actually going out onto all of our socials, it's literally just going to an embed on a page that's gated. And we can even then take that video and drop it an hour later or 2 hours later or a day later for the public, but the brews were already in on it. You know, we can do stuff like that, like just constantly. And
that's going to definitely be a part of it. And that's why I like a cool, you know, that's why I like the magazine concept so much, you know, because you can incorporate the music, you can incorporate the tech, you can incorporate the culture, you can incorporate the news, you can incorporate all these different things in under one umbrella, and then get to, again, like I think what you're about to see, at least in the media landscape, now that Twitter is such a big app, is you're actually going to see regular people pick up a camera and go like develop stories. And it's what
YouTube was before they gobbled it all up. You know,
right.
What YouTube was before it got completely bought out and hosed by Google. But yeah, man, I love it. I'm so happy to be doing this. I'm super excited to be doing it with you. Because I think you're just an awesome dude, and I think you're a tremendous value add to this space as well. And all the other people that are helping out with it. I've had you on for a little over an hour and a half. And it's about 10 o'clock, and I want to be respectful of your time. And I actually have stuff I have to get done to prepare for tomorrow, and I got the SIP call coming up in an hour. So I think it's a good time to wrap it up. What do you got going on for the rest of the day?
I'll probably hit a space here and there. Other than that, we're getting everything lined up for. We're waiting on the Pontus Bridge. Once I get word that the Pontus Bridge is ready to launch, that's when my week's going to get real hectic, because we have to get the BitFlow pool out there. We got to put our rewards on our Rue STX pool. Then we got to put our USDH runes pool on Velar. Like we have a lot happening, but we're just waiting on that one moment. And I know it's soon, but we're just waiting on the official release. And that's when it's going to be no sleep season. I'm very, very curious to see how these runes trade.
Do you think we'll see that launch within the next week or so? Or are they still kind of, it depends on some of the tuning for Nakamoto still?
Right. Like, so originally, to put it in perspective, we timed our launch to try to catch their original launch date with our runes, and it very last minute.
It was supposed to be Monday, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. Basically, what we did is we had a decision whether or not to just postpone the mint or just go with it and just wait for them to open, and it seemed more sensible to go with it. But yeah, so I mean, Nakamoto kind of knocked them off schedule about a week, but I think we're going to have an announcement here soon, and we'll be good to go. And the strategy, really, like if you look at the tokenomics, the strategy is getting in on these pools. Like, not financial advice. I don't care what you do, but you'll see what I'm talking about once these pools go live. And I think it's going to get wild quick, man. Like I don't know, dude. I'm excited. So I'm trying to now adjust my sleep schedule to where I'm staying up like later at night again, so I can, for a while I was on that in bed by 8, wake up by 4. Now
you're on the PeaceLoveMusic schedule.
Right. I've had to change that a little bit in anticipation, so giving myself a few days to acclimate. But I think that we're gonna have some cool stuff, but hopefully today won't be too hectic, because the hectic is coming. The hectic is on its way.
Yeah, right now it's still we're as busy as we've been. This is the calm before the storm. The storm has not gotten here yet, but it's coming. 100%. It's coming, and it's coming with a bullish administration behind it. So let's go.
Next Friday, let's talk a little bit about some ideas for DeOrganized in Vegas, because for one, I really, really just want to hang out with you for a while, like, in person anyway.
Hell yeah.
But because B, like when you do hang out with your crypto bros, like it's fun. It's like takes everything that you
house. Do. It's like the frat house.
Yeah, it's awesome. So like, I think we should talk about that.
Ladies in crypto are welcome to come too. We're not trying to exclusive.
Yeah, no, and like, I understand how like male dominated crypto is to an extent. And I know that can be kind of off-putting, but like there's more women in crypto now than there's ever been, and that's just going to continue to grow. And yeah, like the women can hang out whenever they want. Like,
I find the ones that are in the space too are like the alphas, the alpha females. Like they're very on point. They're very smart. They're very savvy with what they talk about and who they chat about things with, and how they present themselves. So it's very value added, the ones that have made it into the space right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like you're spot on. Like, women bring skills to the game that we're just not as good at all the time, right?
Very right, very different, very
Like,
different.
so no, but I think like we should really start planning out this Vegas thing. I think we have a good concept. We could do some live reporting. We could, crash a couple side events. Like there could be a lot of fun stuff to go on here, and we
We
should
could
we should.
sample the Jameson whiskey down in Vegas.
I mean, live. We could
We
even
could
do
do
it.
it. I'm happy with it. It's good for me.
But no,
Yeah, man, absolutely. We definitely need to plan this out because it's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And I can't wait, man. I love our community. I love you. I love all the people that are in our sphere right now. The energy is great. The intelligence level is off the charts. And there's just this general benevolent focus. Like people are just looking to do good. We have a lot of people that are just looking to do good and appreciative of when cool stuff happens and getting excited about other people also being here to do good. It's a wonderful thing. But now I'm starting to ramble. So let me thank you, Jack. I love you, brother. Always great chatting with you, man. We will talk again soon. If you missed out on the runes, you're not getting mine. I'm not selling them. So yeah, we'll cry.
I'll holler at you soon, brother.
You have a great weekend, Jack. Take it easy. Man. Thank you for joining. I am PeaceLoveMusic. We are DeOrganized Media, and you all have a blessed weekend. Get out there, finish the day strong, get out there, touch some grass, get some, and we'll see you tomorrow from Harvard with the EZA app. Peace out.